Good evening. Welcome to the May 5th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If you'd all rise for pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks for coming or tuning in. We have several appointments tonight. The 6 o'clock appointment really between Tom and Patty, not Tom and the planning board. But anyway, I'll turn the floor over to you two. We wanted an update on where we stood with the checklist that you guys were working to kind of ease. Well, she's pointing at you, so.
Would you like me to?
Yes, sir.
And that my comrade has delegated this to me. I guess first I'd like to ask the Board of Selectmen for a little clarity. We've worked on different types of checklists. As you're aware, at the April council meeting, we did the site plan review checklist. And so Patty and I would like just a little bit of clarification as to which checklist you're referring to, because you've attached it to the planning board and you've asked Patty and I to be here. So if you could clarify as to which checklist, I'd be happy to respond.
Well, I'm not sure attaching it to the planning board is what we had intended. I think what we had mentioned last week was between what you guys were working on from a perspective of, you know, people come, I think the update was anybody that people come in and need to go through this permitting process. You guys work in various checklists, if you want to call them that, on how to make that flow easier, go easier, those kind of things. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are three ways of tackling this. About a month or more, Selectman Gale came in and spoke of a procedurals manual. And so we had a discussion with John, Patty, and myself as to how we might create a type of a procedural manual. The more Patty and I spoke about it, we felt that because every application it comes in on a case-by-case basis, and there's a lot of different variables in every case. In other words, if someone came in to build a floral shop versus a dance hall versus a large manufacturing plant, everyone is really quite different. So we came up with the idea, that being Patty and myself, to start with, we thought that we might create a flow chart. Something that was consumer-friendly, that was business-friendly, so that people could see the process when they walked into Town Hall. Let's say if the chairman came into Town Hall, it was his first time, and he wanted to build a satellite plant of Pratt & Whitney in Waterboro. So we'd go through the steps of site plan review. We'd go through the process that would involve the building department, what it would take to get a certificate of occupancy, and perhaps equally as important, what it takes to go through site plan review. We think that by creating a flow chart, and if that's acceptable to the Board of Selectmen, we can collect our ideas, draft something up, and then submit it to the board first, so you could take a look at it. And if it's what your expectations are, then we can proceed with it. I've found in the past that working with the flow charts and having a couple footnotes that say, you know, you need to refer to site plan review ordinance for this, you need to refer to zoning for this, you need to refer to the building code for this, is really quite helpful. Particularly when it's an applicant and it's the first time coming into Town Hall. They're not sure exactly where to go. I think where some confusion also results is that there, as I had pointed out, I think on the first month of my working for the town of Waterboro, is that there's a lack of clarity in the existing ordinances. The ordinances are tired. They need to be updated. So this task is more than just creating a process to give to our customers. It's also a much huger task of really going and tackling all the ordinances again. They're old, they're tired, they're outdated, and some of them are dysfunctional. And so that's a big task. But it's something that needs to be done, and I think we're doing it bit by bit. But in order to satisfy our customers, the public at large, would like to suggest, if that's acceptable to you, Patty, to do a flow chart, to at least draft one out and see what you think of it. John?
Yeah, and this came up just the other night, with the committee, the newly formed committee that we were in a meeting with. And I think what we're looking for is something pretty simple, like a flow chart, a simplified flow chart, that a person can get and say, okay, I would like to start a business in Waterboro, and I would like to build something, or I'd like to convert something, or I'd like to put it into, okay, who do I go to? Who's the first person do I go to? You don't say, okay, I'm shuffled between this person and this person here. Here's the person I will go to, and here's the flow chart that they'll get when they come to you. Let's say if they come to you, you give them the flow chart, and in each place in the flow chart that it has anything that needs to be made out, any form or that form comes attached to it. So the whole package is right there. And then when that person comes in, you can mark them in. John Doe came to my office on May 5th and I gave him the following packet, And in that packet too, one of the things we were talking about as far as area businesses go, that could be people's names and telephone numbers, and that they can contact for help. So anyway, so this would be a friendly process that a person had something in writing, and they don't come back and say, I talked to so-and-so, and they told me this, but now it's changed, and now I'm supposed to do this. Well, you don't know, because that was 2 months ago that they said they talked to somebody, and there's no documentation that they were given anything. So that's the type of thing I think that we're looking at, is that it's standardized, that everybody gets it, and it's documented that they get it at a certain time.
Mm-hmm. That's easy enough for us to achieve. I can appreciate the synchrony. Being your planner, for me, it's all about detail. It's all about detail. If we're building a road, if we're rebuilding west, we tackle it differently if we're doing reconstruction than if we're doing an overlay. And each one has its own set of complications. The same thing when a customer comes in, we want to treat them with the very best service. In fact, if we expect to excel in bringing new business into this community, we have to constantly strive at delivering the very best customer service we possibly can. Because our competing sister communities are going through the same dilemma, and they're either delivering very good customer service or very poor customer service. It's never in the middle. It's never in the middle. And so I can offer to this board and to our town administration and to the public at large that we can deliver an exceptional service. There is one thing that both the Planning Board and the Board of Selectmen will need to be very cognizant of, and that's to change the ordinances. Because nowhere in the ordinance does it mention town planner. And again, in the first working week for the town of Waterboro, I'd mentioned that we've got to change these ordinances. I've brought that to the attention of the Planning Board. Without proper reference of the town planner or any of your staff people in these ordinances, you don't have the linkage. And so what's being done currently is on my own initiative. I take the initiative when a client, a customer comes into the community. If they happen to walk in the door, I sit down and I talk with them. I explain the process locally, regionally, state-wise, and federally. And in some cases, they need a federal permit. In some cases, they'll need several state permits. And fortunately, I guess age and gray hair has something to do with being your town planner, that I can walk them through that process too. So in a flow chart, we'll show them, Selectman Gale, the process for going locally, but at the same time, we'll embellish it with what you do at the state and federal level at the same time. In some cases, we'll demand that, some won't. But I think that's the value-added portion of good customer service.
I suspect that when you develop that flow chart, and then that will detail the exact ordinances that need to change and how they need to change. And you know, one of the things we can do is, I mean, if we wait to put the flow chart together until we get the ordinances changed, we'll be next year doing this. If we get the flow chart set and that's available to people, and then to say, here are the things where the town planner isn't recognized, and we need to change these specific ordinances. And
absolutely. With the flow chart, Patty and I haven't talked in detail about this, but I would suspect in a couple weeks we could deliver that to you in a draft form so that you could look at it. And before your meetings, you could study the draft and see how it flows. As far as the ordinances, there's no reason we can't start tackling those too. It's important that the two have synchrony. The two have to fit together. Otherwise, what I do on initiative. And when somebody comes in, if I see them stumbling or asking for questions, I try to help them out, because I feel it's part of the role of being a good town planner. But at the same time, if someone says, well, what are you doing looking at this application? Where does it say in the ordinance you should be looking at this? I have to say it doesn't say it in the ordinance anywhere.
That meet what the board was looking for?
I think it was John's.
Yeah, John?
John,
would that meet your expectations of what?
again, I think we came up with it the other night, and when a member of the committee, Doug Foglio, said, came up with the same kind of concern, and at that time, here's a guy that I've been on the planning board for a long while, been on it from both ends, and said, the two of you guys could sit down and kind of put that thing together, and then you sit down with a whole bunch of other people once you've got the basic design set, and the other boards, and of course Patty and Nancy, and then it comes together pretty fast, right? So I think just the initiative kind of needs to come in, and rather than trying to put all the players together to make the stew, design the stew and then give it and have all the players taste it, and it will happen a lot faster.
Okay. That's a good metaphor. We'll have something delivered to you within 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Pam, one of the discussions as we last week appointed you for the ensuing year as the EMA director. I think we wanted to make sure that we also take the opportunity to appoint a deputy. Not that we don't look to you as the person, but when you're in Galveston, Texas, and some of those places that you frequent, we just want to make sure that we have some things in line. So the discussion really is, and I'm not sure we got to come to conclusion, but we at least need to kind of kick this off, that we really need someone that you recommend and run before the board that says, who are we going to...
Well, first thing I have to say is communication's been great between the chief and myself. However, Nancy and I have had great communications. My dad's not doing well right now. I called Nancy this afternoon to check the agenda like I do every week if I'm not here. She informed me I was on tonight at 6:15. I did not know. So I'm being blindsided, but again, I'm not because she told me. Not that I'm blindsided about a deputy, because Nancy, myself, and the chief talked about it back in February. I think it's an awesome idea. Whether he wants more work or not, less pay, days off, but he's just going to get more duties. But again, if I should be on the road, he's the logical choice. There's no doubt about it.
And
It's just that I want my pay to match his.
Oh, God.
That's why I'm on the road.
And I would agree with that, because I think whoever we pick or appoint as being the deputy, it needs to be somebody that's involved on a day-to-day basis with you're here, you know what's going on, and you keep it on top of things. And unfortunately, we've run into a situation where, the folks that have filled in for you, God, their heart was in the right place, but they just didn't have the same grasp that you do, so it was challenging for them.
And it was for the first time in 18 years, and it happens, and it does happen. The world's changed, and, we have little crises, and then they sometimes balloon into bigger ones. So that's understandable. And it is good to know that there is someone covering your back. And I think the chief will be good. I just hate to burden him with more stuff. But as he said in his conversation today, as long as I get it all done, he can follow up. So hopefully the communication is open, and it's just that I'm here and he's over there. But he can run over to me. Run.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's about it. That's not a big blind side, so it's okay. But I had no clue, so whoever was supposed to call me didn't. So it's a good thing that I called Nancy and said, hey, what's going on tonight? So that's about it.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't expect to be, gone anytime soon, except I have to go to Iowa for a week, but that's beside the point.
And I wanted to add that last storm that we had, that the three of us kept.
It worked really well.
Very well.
It did
Very well,
work.
better than the storm before.
Yeah, and I think we all know that. And it was just open lines of communication work when everybody knows what's going on. It's been the same thing with the H1N1. It's not I hate to say it's not a big deal, it is universal precautions, but as long as we talk and know what everybody's doing, what the game plan is, when you're all on the same game plan, it works better than being on different playing fields. So that worked pretty well between Lisa, Matt, myself, and Nancy, and County EMA.
Do you
And-
have any CERT? I know there was an advertisement for CERT. Did you get anything off of that?
Well, we have 3 people that are interested. We just have to actually sit down and interview them now. I thought about holding a class. It's trying to decide. 3 young ladies are going to become involved, but they're taking their CERT class online, and then they'll do the end test, the practical test. I'll meet with them to do that separately. But they want to be involved with the sheltering. And we've had 2 people that have moved into town that are certified Red Cross shelter managers, which are good. We also have Frank Allen. I don't know where he is, because he is too. I like to remind him. But we have 2 new people that are moving into town. Is he here? He must be out in another room. That have moved into town that want to be involved with CERT. So that's also a good thing, because they're around as well. In fact, she's a full-time Red Cross employee. So she might not be available during every disaster, but her husband would be. And then we just have to meet with the 3 people that showed interest. One of them already is a CERT team member. So, and that's Bridget. So she just has to get her little diploma, and I think I have that sitting for her because she wasn't at the last class. And other than that, we'll go, and then, of course, I thought, since now I'm on TV and everyone can hear me, I thought maybe the snowmobile club might be a good place if we actually needed one, if we could get a generator for the snowmobile club. Then it might be a nice, because it's close to my new house. So I don't have to go far. But other than that, that's about it. One other good thing, just not that it really affects anybody here in town, is in my spare time, because I have so much of it, I just became the very first president of the Maine Association of Local Emergency Managers, MALEM. And it's a brand new organization. It hopefully will have all 494 towns emergency managers, and then if they have any staff or deputies, they'll also be able to join, and county staff will be able to join. but it's going to help hopefully get us a voice up in Augusta for financial support, is what the goal is. Yeah, I know, be quiet, John. Actually, this year, starting in July, FEMA will match that little stipends. FEMA's going to start matching stipends if you show them that you are a FEMA town. So we're looking to see what exactly that means. They used to do it, and they would support you 50%. So if you got $500, they'd give you $250. If you got $1,000, they'd give you $500 towards your cost for the year. So that's sort of a good thing. Anything we can get free, I'll take. So we're working to see if that's supposedly going to start on July 1st. So that might be a good thing. We'll know more. Van Malen, we are affiliated with MMA. They'll end up doing all of our billing and everything. So you'll get to see me in Augusta once in a while now. That'll be very quiet, though. That's it. Matt, will you, I mean, I know they haven't appointed you. I don't know if you have to do paperwork, but I would recommend Matt as the deputy director.
All right,
Thank you.
good.
Thanks, Pam.
Thanks, man.
Do we coronate them now, or?
We have some committee appointments later. Harrigan delegation.
Those of you who don't know me, I'm Sylvia Hebert, I'm the Teamster representative. The members you have here, what I'm asking the Board of Selectmen to do is to reconsider your budget that you put forward, give the employees an opportunity to come with alternate plans. You've got intelligent people here, they've come up with some good plans. So we're asking if you could hold a workshop, Selectmen, members of the union, myself, and sit down and try to hatch out a better plan than what's been proposed. We're concerned about some increases in the budget. The cuts that you have, devastating to the membership. I think that's devastating to the citizens. To have you're talking about a town planner growing the area and having new business come in. At the same time, you're talking about cutting your person who does your building permits. Doesn't make a lot of sense on first look. I'm not criticizing the process. Please, I'm asking to be part of it, to help with it. The employees would like to have a voice in it. I know there's been some, I consider miscommunication to believe that you can't speak to the employee. All it would take was a phone call to say, hey, we have this situation. Would you come down as a representative of the membership and discuss this? Where that didn't happen, I'm asking you to reconsider. We're available. We want to be here. We want to be a part of it. I think we have some good ideas. So I'm asking you, I don't want to say the ideas here. I will if you don't want to meet with us, because I think it's important that people will know, but I think what I'm here for is ask for a meeting with you involved to talk about the budget and give us an opportunity.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess we need to tee that up and see if we can put something together.
We certainly have a timeline here
Right.
that we're getting very, very close to needing to.
Yep.
How about tomorrow at 6 o'clock? Tomorrow at 5 o'clock? We could be here tomorrow at 5.
Let us work on that. But John is right.
Warrant will need to be posted 4 weeks from
Right,
Thursday.
right. So we're, the runway is getting shorter.
So if we have a meeting, with all the selectmen, we have to post it a certain amount of days in advance?
No,
No.
it's a public notice, you could do it tonight with a public notice.
So we could do it tonight with a public notice?
And we're supposed to meet with the finance committee tomorrow night,
Tomorrow night
too,
anyway, yeah.
at 6 or 7. you know.
I really don't know what the quorum's going to be tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow night, and I know Brenda's been in Florida. That leaves 2 other members.
Oh,
I don't know if Brenda's back. I haven't had
I don't-
any email communication with her, so I have no idea
okay.
who is going to be. I've been emailing Diane. I may have even, I don't know who I CC'd now, but to try to see if we can get together maybe on Mondays and Tuesdays, because for the whole month of May, I'm working my second job Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Friday evenings. So that leaves out every meeting in the month of May unless we can change them to either Monday or Tuesday. And so far, from Mark and Dave, it's been supportive. They want to move it to either Monday or Tuesday, probably weekly now that we've finally got something from you guys. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, because we really do need to sit down and meet with you soon.
Absolutely.
Very
So
soon.
Tuesdays probably wouldn't be the best night to do it.
Unless it was after
No, but we could switch over and do some things on Monday night if that fits the committee.
Yep.
I guess I would suggest that. That's kind of separate from what we're talking about.
The two gentlemen were very supportive of Mondays or Tuesdays, and bless their hearts, it's because I'm working, so, I mean, it's very generous of them to open up their calendars for that. But again, I haven't heard from Brenda.
Okay, so there's no meeting tomorrow night?
Well, I think there is. I hope there is, because I know you guys are planning on coming, and
Yeah.
I've got to touch base with Brenda. I don't know when she's expected back. I
Is
know
there
Mark and
anything-
Dave are going to be there.
Is there any way we can schedule later on in the agenda tonight
What schedule?
To
to
schedule.
speak with the employees that are here?
Is there anything wrong with speaking to the employees? Does anybody have a problem with it, I guess? Because everybody's just kind of sitting here quietly. Should we just, does anybody have a problem meeting with the employees at this point? I mean, everybody's like staring like a deer.
Well, I mean, I don't. I think that we certainly can move in that direction. I'd like to put it on, if we get to put it onto an evening agenda. I mean, we have been meeting Thursday nights. We don't have anything this Thursday night. We can certainly schedule something that gives you some time to get a hold of all of the employees that are represented.
We appreciate that. Could we schedule a time so we can get the information out?
If that's okay with everybody, we'll do it at, pick a time.
5:30 like we had before? That way the employees would be just getting out of work and they can meet with us at 5:30?
Works
If
for
that's
me.
convenient for
That
you?
sounds good to me.
Appreciate your cooperation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else under hearing a delegation? Willis? You don't need to struggle up here, Willis.
What's that?
You don't need to struggle up here, we can...
Well, I'll tell you, after reading this article that Tammy Wells had in the Journal Tribune, I was upset, very upset. What you wanted to return back 50 years or more. Remember the days when Harry Smith did all the work? Looks to me like that's what you're trying to go back to. But to me, it's ridiculous what this proposed plan is. It bothers me the way that the people are being handled, and also some of these increases they're asking, or somebody's asking on the budget. For instance, I want to know more about this computer technician that we have. I understand that he gets $20 an hour. He's an appointed official in town. He has an office in the building here. What does he do all day long? I want to know about that, and I think the people should know about that. Also, I think the town planner's doing a good job, but isn't this a year to go ahead and put him in as a full-time position? That's another increase. On the other hand, and of course Fred told me this, and it bothers me, you're cutting the seal coating in half almost, the amount of money on seal coat. Now, roads in this town are pretty good, but if you don't seal coat them, it don't take a year or two, they're going to hell. And to me, that isn't the place to cut it. They're going to cut it somewhere else. And to me, folks, honest to goodness, I don't understand why they would ever come up with a plan in this manner. It's not right. It's not right at all. And I think that something should be done, and done quick. Because if it doesn't, I'm going to work my butt off to make damn sure with town meeting, everything is defeated. We'll have another town meeting, because this is wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong the way you're treating the people, and it's wrong when you're treating the people of Waterboro. And something's got to be done, and done quick. There's nobody in this room that spent more time working for the town of Waterboro than I have, for hardly no pay. And something, this is ridiculous. John?
Yeah. Wallace, over the years, I've heard you be a champion of the taxpayer and said, you know, we can't afford this. And now we truly are in a bind as far as money goes, and Willis Lord was sitting here would be the person who said, we can't afford this.
How can you go ahead and have a computer technician. I bet there is another computer technician in any town in the state of Maine, our side. Why do we need a full-time technician here? Always, as I understood it, was that if you get in trouble, you call somebody, have them fixed. But why are we having a man to do that? And although I think that the town planner is doing a good job, we can't afford to go up to a full-time at this time. Maybe later on, yes. But you know you're going to get a 3.5% increase in the school budget. So Jeannie Winnick's, folks, for heaven's sake.
The town planner has been full-time since the day that he started, and it was in the warrant to appoint him and to schedule his pay as a full-time. What happened last year in the warrant, and if you look, I believe it's under Article number 5, the town planner's pay is in there.
Yeah, but
we took part of it from one fund, which money had gone into from the planning board, and we had to add on to it off of taxation. The town planner has been full-time from day one. There is no change in that. The only change is where the money is coming from.
Well, there's quite an increase in his salary, and I said, we
Listen, I understand, message received, Willis. I think just so everybody knows, we're not done with this budget. We voted the other night to hand it off to the Finance Committee, and we took an official vote from the board out of our workshops to do that. And there was some structure in that. So the Finance Committee certainly has their day with the budget. We will then get back with the Finance Committee. We will have another public vote of the Board of Selectmen of what will be included in the warrant, okay? And then the warrant goes to town meeting. So there's certainly time for anybody to voice their opinion, all right? We're not going to air out and run town meeting here tonight, okay?
No,
That's
no,
not what
that-
this is about. Everybody will have ample time to have their say. I think there's too much misinformation going around, okay? And I think that the place where you need to get the real story is in this room, not in papers and forums and all of those other things. We don't run the town of Waterboro in those forms of communications. We run them here, and I think we will, certainly we've had, I don't know how many meetings with the board, public workshops, that the board has gone through line item by line item by line item. We've had the department heads in here, we've gone through their line items. We will be back here in a few weeks, and we're running out of runway. We've got to post the warrant here in another 4 weeks, but we have to get our work done with the Finance Committee. We're taking, we've made taking the offer to meet with the employees. We'll do that Thursday night and listen to some of their input. And we will be back to what is going to be in the warrant, okay? And that will go to town meeting. One of the things that we brought back tonight, because we were at an impasse last week, was one of the issues that will be discussed later, which was on the road budget for an additional ditching amount of money. So that's what we have on our agenda tonight to discuss, of whether or not we will add that or not add that to what we presented to the Finance Committee. But nothing at this point is formulated on a warrant and put into it. It's what we're still working with, a working budget. Just to preface that, there's $400,000+ that we don't have this year to spend that we had last year. We just heard the governor cut another batch, so our revenue sharing is now $100,000 less than what we've been seeing. So this whole thing is still in flux, and we will put it together, and ultimately it will go to town meeting, okay, just like it always does. But all I would ask everybody to please, if there are questions of what this includes, what it doesn't include, talk to one of the people on the board, because that's where at least the information has been shared with, is the 6 people at this table and the department heads. So if there's anything out there that's published or going around, I can't tell you that's any kind of official news or input or anything else.
I
So-
got a question to ask you. Back in the old days when I was a selectman with your father, our year ended December 31.
Yep.
We had our town meeting early in March. We had our town reports before we had the town meeting. Now we're having our town meeting in June, and here we haven't even got our town reports yet. What is the holdup?
The
What's the
budget.
big holdup?
Well, the warrant, we like to publish the warrant in the town report, so that's not a necessity. And we certainly have published town reports before without warrants in them, okay, and have published the warrant separately. But
But we could have the warrant done as soon as the town report done as soon as the audit is done in September.
Right.
Don't understand that.
It's a rough year.
Guess I'm digging too damn hole.
No, you're not, honestly.
Anyone else? If not, we're going to move into reports. Nancy?
Well, you touched on it briefly, there is more cuts, it looks like, coming down from Augusta. Revenue sharing is going to go cut from another 5% to 15%. The homestead exemption is going to be reduced. Tree growth is going to be reduced by another 5%. The circuit breaker, that people who utilize the circuit breaker, they're changing the income limits on that. So that will be, and they just announced this on Friday, and they had the public hearing on Monday. And I believe it's probably going to go through, one of them to be voted on this week. So nobody's really had time to react to this. And another, like Dennis said, another 5% on our revenue sharing. That's almost $100,000 we're going to lose.
So it's not plowing any easier, or looking any easier as we go forward here, so.
You think you got somewhat on top of what's happening, and then all of a sudden, they slide in something else.
So
And the homestead exemption is going to be retroactive to April 1st of this year.
So
that
just
impacts
remember, when they talk in Augusta of no new taxes, there might not be any new taxes in Augusta, but there's a whole heck of a lot more that's going to be made up down at the local level. And it's either in reduced services, or we bite the bullet and present to the people a tax increase.
And I don't know what the impact's going to be on education.
Right, well, that's going to
They
get
only
cut
put one figure up, they didn't do the breakdown on that one yet.
So,
At least a 2% decrease in education funding is what, one of the things that I read.
all right, anything else, Nancy? Doug?
Is this board going to step forward, or has this board stepped forward and demanded that SAD 57 give the town of Waterboro its share of the homestead exemption that they have been illegally collecting for the past several years?
Well, I guess I'm not quite sure what you're referring to.
When the Homestead Exemption Act was passed, the state funded that. With every $6,500 it was deducted, the state refunded that itself. When they passed the homestead exemption reform, the money was paid back to the towns through the school departments. Fred Bouchard stood at this microphone where I'm standing and promised the town of Waterboro citizens that that money that came back to the SAD 57, he would write a check and hand it to the town of Waterboro for the second half of the $6,500 Homestead Exemption Act. There was a bill presented, well, let me go further. That didn't affect anybody but the towns in SAD districts. Sanford, Portland, Biddeford, they all get their state money and they run their own school department. So the money came to the school department, which was part of the town government anyway. So the money came to them. The SAD districts, the districts got to keep the money as a bonus.
Well, presumably that was going to offset the need for additional tax dollars to run the school.
We got hit with a double whammy because our taxpayers had to pick up the extra $6,500 valuation in the tax bill.
In the tax rate.
While the school district got the $6,500 tax value credit in the form of a special account. There was a bill presented, and Presque Isle and Waterboro were the only two municipalities that went in favor of this bill. After several hours in committee, the committee voted to recommend to the governor that he fund that money directly to the towns. The governor agreed, but never funded it. So as far as I know, we've never received our portion, or the second half, of the $6,500 Homestead Exemption Act, which at this time, looks like a fairly substantial amount of money, given the problems, the financial difficulties that are being faced by the municipalities. And just one more thing about the school, we're cutting money in the town of Waterboro drastically. I think we should demand that SAD 57 have a zero increase or a minus increase, not 1%, 2%, or 3%. Why should we give that white elephant down there on West Road additional money when we're sacrificing opportunities here in town? It's not fair. It's just plain not fair.
Thanks, Doug.
I have to agree with the comment on the 0%. This year, we had the letter going around, I believe it was 3%, that the area selectmen requested that they go up no further than 3%. I did right beside my name, I put 0%. So I definitely agree with that. There shouldn't be anybody going up this year.
Well, that's certainly the push from our perspective, and we would, we've already seen a lovely increase from the county, so, in the projection, I guess the other night from Mary was, 3.2 or something for the school, so. But I agree, Doug. I mean, I'm not sure how, the only way you control the school budget is at that school vote, and that is so convoluted now. There's a town meeting kind of vote, and then it goes to a referendum vote, and, I'm not sure how you attack that anymore.
You have two opportunities.
Right, you have
one
two
opportunity at
Doug has an
the,
idea.
I understand that, Dennis.
Yeah.
There's basically, you can go to the SAD meeting, you can turn the budget down, and you can turn it down, but after the second or third time you turn it down, they just get their budget anyway, so you've wasted your time. We did that years ago.
Yeah.
We turned the budget down. When it was all done, the board of directors just outvoted all of the townspeople and got what they wanted. So it's an unfair system, it should be corrected, but we can't even get people up in Augusta that can add 2 and 2 and get 5. We're bound to come up with 7. So I guess they're not going to straighten that out.
No, not in our lifetimes, probably. All right, anything else on Nancy's report? Anything from the selectmen? Committee? Dustin?
Good evening. Just trying to keep the communication open between the selectmen and the road review committee. Today we took over custody of the York County radar speed trail, and we're going to have that for at least 2 weeks. I've turned in a list of roads, target roads this time, that we're going to be shooting for. We're going to keep it out for a couple of days on a road. We're going to get it highly visible in town. We plan on doing this throughout the year, and also get our traffic counts out of this as well. The other issue is, probably our most important right now, is the old Elford area. We've been down there. I've been down there weekly looking at the area. We've done everything from taking pictures, to site leveling, to this past week, I've gone out with our road commissioner, Fred Fay, and we did a drive around on each of the roads that people complained on. Our next step, and hopefully in the next week, we're going to get an outside contractor to come in, take a look at this, see if there's anything we've overseen, see if we can get some kind of good direction on cost of what we're looking at, and hopefully we'll be able to turn something back into you folks that we can stand behind.
Good.
How was the water during the melt? I mean, was there any
Minimal.
pooling or flooding?
It did very minimally. It wasn't bad at all this year. I kept an eye on it, had the camera ready, and it was nothing like we saw in those pictures from '07, I believe it was, where we had the flooding, and that was throughout the area. So this year wasn't a good example of worst-case scenario, but we can clearly see where the problem is. We see what elevations it is flooding at, and hopefully with this, me and Fred can talk to a contractor and get some kind of better understanding of what we're looking at here.
Okay, good.
Any other questions for me?
All set?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We probably will under old business.
Any other committee stuff?
Do we have anything to report on the transfer station we had last night?
Yeah, that's in the, the ordinance is the only thing that we've got.
And the only other thing was the free trailer that we
Right.
were going to pull the axle off that and
Yeah,
move that.
we talked in the committee last night for, and David's not here, or Clint's not here, but Clint's up to the annual Maine waste thing or something, right up to
Bar Harbor.
Bar Harbor. We're trying to lessen the congestion where all of the recyclables go now, so we're talking about pulling that trailer that we've got the kind of the free stuff in and moving that to a little more convenient area that's in the kind of the middle area of the dump, so. And we're in the process of updating the ordinance, and we'll talk about that a little bit after, in old business, but. So, we just want to remind everybody, keep recycling. We have not stopped recycling because of quote-unquote single stream. It's really single stream recycling. So your household waste goes in the compactor, but all your recyclables go in the second compactor, so. New business, committee appointments.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Willis Lord to the trying to see which one he was applying
Transfer
to.
station.
It was the transfer station. Okay, I'd read it
We appointed
earlier.
him last week to Eco Maine, but we'd already done that for like 10 years before that, so his term went, well, we figured it'd last at least 10 more years, Will, so. Okay?
Until Route 5.
Yeah,
Until Route 5's
So Route
paved.
5 is done.
All right?
Second?
Been moved second for Willis Lord to the Transfer Station Recycling Committee. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, just want to remind everybody on committees, the entire Transfer Station Committee comes off, because it's only a one-year appointment. We're still looking for folks to go back on. We have a second one on Planning Board. What's the status of Planning Board? How many off? Just Teresa?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Teresa Lowell to the planning board.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
And next week you will have a resignation. You received it with it.
Okay.
Received up for planning.
All right.
Yes, we should also thank Teresa and Willis, especially for all their work on these different committees that they're on.
Yep.
Willis spends an awful lot of hours with the Transfer Station Committee and doing the stuff with ECO, and Teresa's spent an awful lot of time with the Planning Board, and we appreciate it.
And should we make a motion to appoint Matt as the deputy EMA?
You don't want him to fill out his application to make sure that he's qualified?
No.
You ought to interview him.
Who's
I
that?
don't, if you want to make that motion, I guess it's not out of order. So if you want to make that motion.
Yeah, I'll make a
second
motion that we appoint.
All those in favor of appointing Matt Boers as Deputy EMA Director? That's approved. Okay, moving on. Discuss, vote on workshop for lien payments or back taxes payments. Has everybody talked to Julie?
Yes.
I'm not sure we need to do this, right, based on, but
Well, I think
schedule
that
one if you want one, right?
the main thing that she brought up was it was a minimal payment.
Right.
And people were probably going to be paying more than that, so.
So we're all set on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's dead. Discuss a vote letter to the Criminal Justice Committee. I see that we've drafted one to the Office of the Governor, but this is on the proposed LD 385. This, we have a local sex offender ordinance in this town, and I think we're one of, 10 towns in the state, certainly 2 or 3 in York County. What they're trying to do is to limit or eliminate the ability of any local community for having a local ordinance that deals with this. Our Representative Joe Wagner has sent a letter to the committee, and I think kind of well put, that believes that towns have that right, and I think you really want to fix something, go fix the registry, not necessarily try to fix what we have for local ordinances. So, has everybody had a chance to look at the content of the letter? Does it go to the governor, or should it go to the criminal justice
I
committee?
think I think Pam had drafted several of them, one for the governor, one to each rep, as well as the committee in general.
Okay.
Oh, you got it.
All right. Okay, so that's the way to do it.
Utilize Google.
Right. Yeah.
The letter outlines both the issues with the registry, with how it's set up. It does tend to penalize people who we don't necessarily, want to target with such an ordinance. There's also the issue of home rule authority that the LD 385 would go against. Maine Municipal has taken a stance against LD 385 to protect home rule. And there's also the rehabilitation issue. That was probably the biggest thing when drafting the original sex offender ordinance. And so I tried to wrap those 3 issues up into the letter. And we did receive very strong report. We had over 90% of the voters in this town vote for it, and I haven't seen anything, receive quite that much support since I've been here, and, I think that shows very strong support for it.
So does somebody want to make a motion that we send this?
I'll
Sign it
move.
and send it?
I'll move that we send this.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. All right, discuss the vote on contract for dispatch and PSAP services in the town of Sanford. I'm hoping, Matt, I'm looking at you, that we've plowed through this.
I have not read the contract yet, but at this point, we seem to be still moving forward as quickly as possible.
So are we ready to sign this, or do we put it off? I mean, have you gone through this, or have we
You've already seen the whole contract.
spooled this up to Ken or whomever? Yes, is there any risk of us?
This is the same, a boilerplate for all the towns that are,
Yeah, and I believe from the discussions we've had from Mark Green is that that is the boilerplate that's been used. And I believe a lot of it actually may have come from similar language as used in the Department of Public Safety's contract as well, similar fashion.
Okay.
I did read through it quite thoroughly, and I felt that it was a good contract. There were some issues that I wanted to make sure were addressed in it, and they were. I feel very comfortable with it.
comfortable enough to make a,
I make-
Comfortable?
I make a motion that we sign the contract with DPS and Sanford Police Department.
Any discussion?
Well, I think we had attended a meeting, and really the only I think the questionable thing that came up was control over the facility, and I really think that we have, as we discussed before with First County Communication, this is going to be something the town of Waterboro has more control over than we did with the stage. We're going to be receiving better service, and I think the big move was as far as cost goes. That was the big.
We're currently meeting on a weekly basis to identify those issues. The towns that are involved will have input. Obviously, Sanford has a final say, but I think the involvement that we'll have with them will help over the long run for the service that we receive. Obviously, they want to make their customers happy as well, so I think I'm optimistic that I think it will work just fine. I think with anything, a major change like this, the first couple months, we're going to have bugs, and we're going to have a bumpy road, and we'll need to work those out. But I don't think that it's going to be any different than what we experienced with the Department of Public Safety when we went over there, 3 years ago. So, like I said, we are
The
meeting on a weekly
difference is
basis.
one is in Gray and one is in Sanford, so it's,
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
I think there's other attributes
Yep.
to it too that will improve.
A more direct route for our calls.
Anything else? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, thanks. The solid waste ordinance. I think we at least we really need Clint back for a couple of questions that need to go to Maine. And everybody at Maine, I think, is up to the same conference that Clint's at. But generally speaking, it takes flow control and really dictates where any refuge that's picked up in the town goes, right? The question that we've got is a couple of issues with, it talks about acceptable waste being leaves, branches, those kind of things going into the compactor instead of how we treat them with taking them down and then we grind them up, so we have to deal with a couple of those issues.
So they want us to put them,
Yeah, evidently they want us to put them in a compactor, so, and I'm not sure. Well, when you add what it costs per ton, it's $88 per ton, it's $150 a pull to do it, so it's 200 and,
The tipping fee would almost be double.
right.
The tipping fee would almost be double, not quite double, if you went everything into the Eco-Maine. We're better off saving money by doing what we're doing.
Right, I agree.
We ought to have that.
We need to make sure that that's written in
That's
this.
right, that we should. We've been doing that before this.
So I think if once these guys, Kevin's back, if I can get maybe Clint and Nancy and Kevin and I on a conference call, we can at least iron out some of that stuff rather than to keep going back and forth with it, so. But I think that we set the public hearing, Pam, right, for is it the 19th or the week after that?
19.
Okay, so we've got to have it ready. Right, so. All right, discuss vote road budget to send to Finance Committee last week. For those of you that were here or tuned in, we had an even staffed board, and we had a little bit of an impasse.
Now we have an odd number on the,
And again, that's
not an
why
odd number, an odd number.
I think,
I know what you mean, John.
one of the reasons that, a bit, I know that the emotion is very, very high with the budget, and rightfully so, because it affects a lot of different people, but, we're not complete. What we voted on last week was to move it to the Finance Committee with our, with the agreement of the board that that's where we were headed. There was one piece that didn't go, and that was an increase of
$30,000 to the
whatever
ditching.
that number was, and Tammy Jo had it, so to increase the ditching, which was requested by the Road Review Committee. We had, it's not currently in the budget that's been passed on to the Finance Committee, because at this point, we're balanced income expenditures. So if we add it, we'll have to define where the revenue is coming from. So we said we'd bring it back this week as long as we move forward with the rest of that budget. So I guess I would ask what's your pleasure?
Well, I'm where I was last week, except maybe even more so. Now that the state is backing off with some more money, and we're looking to be, at this point, what we have is we had a request for $95,000 of ditching, increased ditching, and we all bought that. And it was over a 2-year period to get the ditching up to where it should be for the town. And the ditching is well explained to us that you do this ditching and it's going to save you money in the future because the roads are not going to, the water isn't going to wash under the roads, and you're not going to end up into what is a $50,000 project turn up to a $500,000 project. Good logic. Now comes the budget, and we're hacking everywhere. We got reduced jobs, we've got, and so out of that, we took $30,000 and reduced the increased ditching from 95 down to 65,000. That, I think there's a possibility of recovering that during this upcoming year, if we find that we get money back from the federal government on the road work that we did because of the storms. And if we get that, I would certainly think that we should go to a special town meeting and put the $30,000 back in. However, if you put it in now, then we're looking into a deficit spending. We do not have the money, we do not have the surplus, and that's, in a people's household, your surplus is what you have in your checking account that you use in order to pay your bills. Right now, we have to borrow on that to pay our bills before our tax bills go out. It's going to get worse next year if we go into further deficit spending. This will put us into deficit spending, and even more so if we lose more money from the state. So at this time, I think I don't feel responsible in putting this money in at this time. If it comes to us, we spend it for it. It's a great way to expend the money. But if we don't have it, then we're deficit spending. We're going to be borrowing the money essentially to do this job.
We've got the experts telling us. We have Fred, we have the road review committee. We have a road review committee this year that's probably the most informative group we've ever had. And they're telling us, if we don't put the money into these roads, good luck. You may be spending double that next year that you don't have anyway.
Let us debate this up here for a while, will you?
I agree. I think we all agree with what John is saying about this is a great project. We recognize that. But with what John's saying about particularly now is not the time to spend the money, I feel just the opposite. I think now is the time that we need to plan ahead, because we know that next year is going to be tight. The year after that is probably going to be tighter. We're definitely looking at decreased revenues. And as our budget shrinks in the years coming forward, we're going to have less and less money to do necessary road projects. So by doing the ditching now, we're preventing those future years when our funding may be much less, having to do projects such as $1 and $2 million rebuild jobs on roads. Look at West Road, for example. We're going to end up doing half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, and what's the total bill? Thank goodness the state's jumping in on that one, but we're looking at $1 million project. We've got 62 miles of road in town. A lot of them are not ditched properly, as is evident from the RSMS, and what's going to end up happening is they're going to continue to deteriorate to the point where we're not going to be able to afford to repair them the proper way. We're not really repairing them properly now. and we're going to end up with impassable roads. We talk about trying to increase our businesses here so that we can diversify our tax base. One of the keys to attracting business into our community is going to be providing excellent road structure so that customers, workers and whatnot have safe, reliable passage into town. So I think that now, instead of being reactionary to what happens in the future, it's good planning on our part to take the steps now to prevent further damage. It's going to be a lot cheaper for us in the long run to have to put a top coat on the roads than it's going to be to rebuild them from the ground up.
Here's where I am. I'm still with John. And the reason I say that, I think we've got another 2-3 weeks of further negotiation that we're going to go through with the Finance Committee. We agreed tonight to sit with the employees. Not sure what the outcome of that may be. You know, I think the Road Review Committee has done certainly an admirable job of finally indexing everything we now know. But I'm not sure we've got a fair amount of money that's already in that budget, or at least proposed in that budget. Town meeting may vote it down, who knows? But the fact of the matter is that I'm not sure we get to run out in the first year that we now have everything indexed and throw as much as we can at it, okay? And I'm not saying that it's not prudent money, and it's not bad money after bad, or good money after bad. I think the fact of the matter is there are some opportunities. We know that we're waiting for some FEMA money to come back. Those are the kind of things that I think that would be prudent to, as John points out, is if the FEMA money comes back, we already have it structured, we already know what the road committee wants to do, then that money was spent on roads this year that we hadn't planned on. So I think there's some opportunity to then take that and go back to the people and say, let's do a special town meeting and go through that. But I think maybe 3 weeks from now, I'll feel different when we sit down and actually approve what's going to be in the warrant. But at this point, I'm still pretty hard on the fact that what we've turned over to the Finance Committee, we've turned over to the Finance Committee.
What's the harm of turning it over to the Finance Committee with it in it? I mean, they will be looking at it just like we're looking at it.
I think they have that, they know that it's there, right? I think it's, my only point is I'm not endorsing that at this point.
Well, there's other things in the budget I'm not endorsing that are going into the budget to the Finance Committee.
Yeah.
Nancy, what happens if we submit a lower amount to the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee says, no, we think it should be increased? How does that go on the town warrant? At what the Finance Committee recommends, or what the Selectmen recommend? I mean, I know you can't go up.
Whatever
so-
this board votes on that will go on the warrant, okay, could be the Finance Committee's recommendation, could be where we're at right now. That's what goes on.
This isn't the vote to put it on the warrant, and our charter requires, as far as the warrant's laid out, that we have Finance Committee recommendation and Selectmen's
right.
recommendation on there.
So I think,
Selectmen are in charge of the warrant.
right.
Okay.
And it's the number, ultimately the number that the Selectmen vote to put into that warrant.
So even if we send this to the Finance Committee and they say, if we send it in at the lower amount, the Finance Committee says, hey, we think, it should be at the higher amount, that doesn't mean we're going to put it on the warrant at the higher amount.
That's right.
That's right.
That would be a first. I don't remember a Finance Committee putting more money in than the Selectmen.
But I think we do have to set the warrant up in such a way where if, it is approved that the question is worded appropriately,
Right.
So that the Finance Committee recommendation could be accepted, or the Selectmen's recommendation. And, Fred wants to...
Well, what do you have to...
Well, with this, I've been thinking about it all week,
This debate
of
is
course.
up here right now, okay?
I've been thinking about it, and I can see both sides of it. I don't, personally, I did say before that I didn't think that we should put more money into it. However, currently, right now, we have the Chadbourne Ridge project on there with some ditching. We took money out of ditching. And one of the problems where our roads are getting the way they are is because of the ditching. So the more money we can throw in there, of course, it's better. The Chadbourne Ridge is already bad. It does flood over. I've seen it a couple of times myself, and it needs to be ditched and have a larger culvert put in there from what I remember. I've heard that from Fred in the past. What I'd like to propose is maybe something down the middle. Perhaps we take out the Chadbourne Ridge project, I believe that was around 60, and put the money into the ditching so that we can get as much ditching done around town. I think when I think about it logically, the more money we put into ditching, the more money we save on the roads in the future. And I see it as being, the pavement's going to stay the way it is on Chadbourne Ridge, but if it's ditched and it has a proper culvert in there, the drainage at least won't be an issue this year. And we can target that road along with Deering Ridge for paving on next year's list. I don't disagree that it needs to be done, but I think I think for the most bang for the buck and preventative maintenance, we would be better off doing ditching for all the money instead of having a road project on there.
Let me at least get since we've already discussed this, a motion on the table here, or
Well,
not.
before I heard a motion, could we allow them to respond to Evan at this point?
I guess we can do whatever what you'd like.
Thank you.
Do we have to put a motion
Fred?
on the table?
Let me tell you this. Remember we got the rain, the heavy rain, and our roads washed out? We went out here and we ditched, put new cross covers, riprap. All them roads are pretty much perfect. I mean, the pavement's not the greatest in the world because you're getting a decrease in your pavement. But the thing of it is, the water has been taken care of. Okay? Water's your biggest enemy, there's no question about it. And if we can go and ditch, now you say it's a 2-year project of ditching?
That's what was
This month,
the road
okay.
review committee
So you
discussed.
take so much this year, so much next year. Try to hit your worst places where you can ditch, get some drainage in, some new cross culverts, and hold these roads together. Now, you've got a committee, you've got a budget set here for $60,000 for paving. You're not gonna get much paving done. But the thing of it is, there's places that need to be paved a little bit. So it's gonna be a situation where you're gonna jump around a little bit and try to get these roads back as good as you can and get some drainage on it. That culvert on Chadbourne Ridge Road is bad.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we can put a new culvert in, just like Evan said, and fix the road up and get by for another year and then do that project. There's no problem with that at all. We can shim it. So you spend a few dollars just shimming over that culvert, make it decent and try to get rid of some of that potholes. Another thing's done, I'm gonna bring up to you, the screw away. We've been paid for that culvert, and we gotta get a culvert in there, or else we gotta pay that money back.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can put some of the
Now,
money
this is
towards
something
the
that's got to
culvert.
be...
Well, I mean, I guess, to Evan's point, and I guess that really becomes the road review and the road commissioner. I mean, when ultimately we get down to so that we're scrubbing this thing down, if you took and I don't know, what's the money for Chadbourne Ridge? I mean, I don't know.
$65,000.
Right, so if you took the 65 and said,
65,550.
we're gonna put 30 more into the paving account, we're gonna put the 35,000 into the ditching account, and part of that certainly would go to ditch and reculvert Chadbourne Ridge, then we don't raise any more, or put any more money into the overall, but we put another 35,000 into paving and another 30,000 into above and beyond the 60 that we're already talking about, into ditching, okay? But that's got to be kind of an understanding that Chadbourne Ridge eventually still will have to be done.
Well, I would say
Right.
next year that would be the time to tackle it then if we've done the ditching.
That doesn't change the bottom line of the value.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I think my issue here was not how the road review committee spent the money, whether it was on ditching. I wasn't into taking it out of ditching. I just didn't want to put more money into the budget. So if we end up with no more money into the budget, yet the priorities have changed from the Chadwell Ridge project into ditching, that's fine with me. I just didn't want to put another $30,000 into the budget when we've had so much trouble getting it out, and we may even need to take more out.
Fred?
My suggestion, and Evan mentioned this too, put a culvert in on Chadwell Ridge Road, okay? Run a drag shim over it for this year. Just a drag shim. Won't cost you that much, you'll get you by for another year. Then build the road up the way it should be when you go ahead and do Image Ridge.
I was going to say now, we took out already a project for this year, which was Deering Ridge Road.
I understand that.
So now what are you going to do, put Deering Ridge off 3 years?
No, next year.
So next year you're going to try to put 2 projects in plus the other half of the ditching?
If you're already going for your ditching program, if you get your ditching program, which is going to take care of you for 2 years, right?
It was, the capital plan was for 95 this year, 85 next year. Chadwell Ridge Road and Deering Ridge Road this year. In the road review committee meetings that I've been to, they all indicated that Chadwell Ridge Road was a priority because of the egress out of Arrowhead, the amount of traffic. It's the only way in and out without having to go through Limerick. When we talked about budget in the committee, and Dustin, correct me if I speak out of line here, the committee said we'd be okay putting Deering Ridge Road off for another year if the priority is Chadwell Ridge Road and ditching. And then understanding that next year they asked for the Deering Ridge Road and 85 for ditching.
You're already going to, the ditching on Deering was for Deering Ridge Road, right?
No,
Part of
Deering
it.
Ridge Road is going to need some reconstruction. It's going to need to be repaved and ditched.
Okay. But I thought you were going to go up there and ditch anyway. That was part of the ditching program, right? So, I mean, it would make sense to ditch it in this coming fiscal year and then look at it in the next fiscal year. And I think, to be perfectly honest with you, we're going to be, things aren't turning around here. We're going to be at we're going to have to get real creative of what we do for funding roads or funding the town.
I agree.
Okay, in another year, all right? So, I mean, I think the approach may very well be, as Evan suggests, let's change the culvert, which is the real critical piece of Chadwell Ridge Road, shim it or whatever, but I'm saying you take that 60 grand out of that project and you split it, part of it in paving and part of it in further ditching. That gives you, that now brings you back up to $90,000 in ditching and $90,000 in paving. And it's the same amount of money as what we've decided on now. I still think there's opportunity when the FEMA money comes back to then address other needs for roads. And that may very well be for Scootaway or whatever the case may be. But, you know, we know that money's owed to us, right, from the ice storm.
Well, you might be able to, I don't know if you could swing a culvert for Scooter Way, I don't know how much
We got
that
the
one
culvert.
was.
We
Oh, we
got
have
the
it already?
Didn't we buy the culvert?
No.
I think
No,
we
we
had
didn't.
the old
Okay.
one, that's pretty beat
I
up.
polished the metal culvert.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was.
Was it 10,000 it's gonna run?
65 or 75.
Because even though the culvert is there that washed out, it's all rusted and it's not
Okay.
gonna.
Oh, yeah, that's in bad shape.
It's
Well, I don't know if we want
deteriorating.
to, I don't know if we want to get into the detail of how to solve all this tonight, but I think the real issue is where do we, I'll give Dustin a go here, but go ahead.
All right, we started this out this year. I agree with you, John, and I agree with you, Dennis. Clearly, times are tough right now, but you both agree next year looks tougher, right?
Don't know.
No, not
Don't
necessarily.
know.
Well-
Ben said this morning, Ben Bernanke said this morning that in the last half of this year, things might be looking up.
The forecast we were translated through to the road review was it doesn't look much better for next year. We shortened our programs up to begin with. No programs have been going on for years in town.
That's right.
Okay? We can't overlook that. We're not asking for luxury paving to happen on these back roads Chadbourne and ditching is a necessity. Chadbourne, you have 3,300 cars a day coming out of that area. Fix it right, fix it once, be done with it. Ditching, it will save us hundreds of thousands of dollars in this town. The commissioner stood here, and the first thing he said was, with these towns coming up with a program, get your ditching down. We were online with that. That's what our CIP is. It's an out-of-the-box theory. And yes, we're asking you to, we're talking $30,000 here. Times are tough, I understand that. In the big picture of what this town would have to spend out in paving, with storms coming through and these roads continuing to wash away, that is not a lot of money. We need to invest a small amount of money just to protect what we already have. We haven't even started with our improvements on the roads like we would like. This is trying to protect what we have, half of what we have. 87% of our roads showed up poor on our RSMS program. We have good, fair, and poor. So fair, we still need to work on. And if 87% of them are falling on poor, this is an emergency for this town to get a hold of its ditching program, protect what we have left. We've worked hard at this. We're not coming to you trying to spend money frivolously. This is the bare bones in a 2-year program. If we start shuffling these 2 programs around, we dropped Daring Ridge already. We told you, we have 10 other roads just like it with sections that need to be reconstructed. If we keep letting these roads get to the point where they need to get reconstructed, we're talking millions of dollars per road. So I am asking this board to come together, $30,000. We need to protect what we have and save it while we can.
I agree.
Willis?
When I was road commissioner about 30 years ago, I had a ditching program. I hired a fellow from Shapley and Glen Bean, which put all the stuff out of the ditches, shaped them so the water was going into the ditch. We hauled off all that stuff and we were here, there, and everywhere. But unless you do that, and that's what the trouble is now. You get these sand and all this sand, and years it builds up things, so the water has to go down along the time, and that's what's happened up on that hill going up to my place.
Yeah.
That's what's happened. That was wet for years and years, all right, but that's build-up of salt and sand, mostly sand, salt's gone. But the sand, that's what causes the water can't get down into the ditch. And unless you go ahead and shape it and get it up, and then that extra stuff, get it the devil out of there. Don't try to put it all back in there, but haul it off. That's what we did. And it worked for years. But now, none of that's been done. So I know, Fred.
Could you hear him okay, David, on the thing? Just checking.
No,
You had to turn the podium mic down.
the thing about ditching any road and paving a road is get a crown in the road. Get your ditch cleaned out and crown. Any dirt road, and I grade a lot of roads. I've been writing Hollis for 2 days. They hired me to go in and do their roads, and I'm telling them, when I get done with them roads, I put quite a pitch in the center. Get it right up there. Because that's the only way you're gonna shed that water out, even though there's no ditches. They can shed that water and them roads low. I did that, all them roads that I did over there last year, and when I went over there last year, you wouldn't have taken your car or your pickup down over them, and this year you could drive over them, and they went back. You can get a crown in them roads. Makes all the difference, same way with paving.
Can't do that with the road that's already tarred, Fred.
No, I say with the paving road.
All right.
Get a crown.
I'm just gonna, if everybody's taxes in town went up by $10, or we went back to paper bag, and we went back to basics and had some safety in this town, and I'm talking the roads, and I'm talking the fire department, what the hell are we doing? We're just gonna cut everything to the point where we just won't even have a town anymore? This is so absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry, this is just stupid.
I mean, a lot of people's a lot of people's budgets at home are stupid too, and they're feeling the same thing. Are we going to just cut so we can't do this? We're in a situation where we have X amount of money, and if we put more money in, then we're borrowing it.
Well, then maybe we're just going to have to borrow at some point and be able to run this town.
That's what got the economy in the problem in the first place.
Not the
People
town,
borrowing
no.
money and unable to pay for it.
Well, not the town of Waterboro. You may see the state do that, and you may see the feds do that, you may see the county do that. I don't know what in hell's going on with the schools, but this is really ridiculous. This is so stupid that we have to sit there and listen to the governor say, this is what you're getting, and this is what the schools are getting, and by God, if you don't have enough money to run the town, just throw everybody under the bus.
I like what Nancy said. The governor's trying to get municipalities to consolidate like they did the school districts.
Please, you know, this is ridiculous.
We're not going to change the state tonight.
Bad.
Limerick,
What do you want to do with this? We said we'd bring it back.
Yep.
What do you wanna
And
do?
my motion will be the same motion that I made last week, is that I motion we take 35,295 out of surplus and put it back into the ditching program and go with what the road review committee suggested.
Second.
All right. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion's defeated.
Good, guys.
All right.
Just keep going.
So I will
Enjoy.
move that we follow Evan's recommendation, and that no new money is put into roads. However, it's switched over into ditching, from the Chadwell Ridge project into ditching and paving.
Culverts, too.
Yeah, culverts and culverts.
I'll second that, and I'd like to add that when that FEMA money does come in, you know, I will commit to putting that to the, either one or both of the road projects, depending on what we have available for time left.
Yep.
I agree.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Yes?
I think that, you know, if we're taking the money out of ditching, we leave it alone. We let them do Chadbourne Ridge Road, when road review said that was one of the priorities. Not only does the culvert need to be replaced, but the road needed to be raised there so that it didn't continue to flood out. If we're going to reduce ditching, then I say we reduce the ditching and leave the Chadbourne Ridge Road project alone.
Well, I see, you know, with the motion, I thought about this an awful lot. And, you know, one of the things that we have a problem with is the ditching, and that's going to cause more roads to deteriorate. If we're looking for a savings for the town, I think the more ditching that we can do to prevent it on other roads, the better. Fred has said that he can put a culvert across that road, and I do believe living in that area, seeing it through 2 storms and traveling on that road every single day, and I've been putting out the blockades and stuff when it does flood over, and I do see where the flooding is, that a culvert would make a huge difference there. I do agree that it has to be raised, but I think it's enough to get by for the year and prevent any problems there. It's going to be a huge difference compared to what's there right now.
And if they get the FEMA money comes in, if it comes in the summertime, we have a special town meeting,
Yeah.
it gets done in the fall.
Fred? Fred, what are you looking at? What's the amount to do what you had suggested up on Chadbourne Ridge?
On where?
To put the culvert in?
Well, if you just put the culvert in, the culvert that we should put in there is around 3,400. And probably the pavement might cost you 15, 20,000,
Which is really just a Band-Aid.
just a band.
Which you're going to end up having to repair again later on.
Let me ask you something. When this goes to the vote of the people, tell me, can they raise it?
Nope, they cannot.
Why?
They can go down, they
That's
cannot
not
go...
right.
Well, that's
That's not right.
Hey,
Taxpayers have a right. You're taking the rights away from them.
not me, I'm just telling you.
I'm telling you.
Well,
You're taking
No,
the rights
that
away.
is the way that warrants have been forever, Fred. okay, is that
Years
the
ago,
numbers put in,
there's something-
well, years ago, you're right, and part of that, part of the reason that it was, that the laws changed so that they were done that way, is that so that an article couldn't be defeated, and then all of a sudden, a bunch of people walk out, and all of a sudden, they reconsider and they raise it again, okay? And that was so that you didn't manipulate town meetings.
Dennis, when you do a job, do it right, and you get it done. Once you do it, get it right, then it's done with.
Yep. No, really?
So we're talking, you're talking 20,000 out of the 60
Do the job.
anyway.
Do the whole job, I agree with,
Well, if you can put the money somewhere else for ditching then. I just look at that and I say 65,000, if we can use that for ditching on other roads and prevent 2 or 3 other roads from having problems.
you got
You know,
money for that, and you got, what do you recommend, 60,000 for ditching?
It'll be, what it'll end up being is 60, it's actually 60,295 for Chadbourne Ridge Road, 59,705 for ditching.
Yeah. And also, there's $30,000 for ditching
In your budget,
In your budget.
right, in the actual, just, so you got $90,000 for
Cut
that.
that by 10,000. Fellas doing all right, aren't you?
Yeah.
you know, these guys know how to manage the money they get the best way. All I'm concerned about is putting more money into a budget that cannot handle more money without deficit spending. We're going to get the same hard push and emotional push Thursday night to put money back in the budget there too. The thing is, can we get by? We've cut all this money out. It's taken months to get this money out, and now to start putting it back in, it just doesn't make sense. So, however the road review and the road commissioner want to spend the money that we got, that's fine with me. All I'm against is putting $30,000 back into a budget that is already depleted.
Well, I guess, we went months and months and months, and we did look at the budget, and I think we sometimes agreed, we sometimes didn't agree. You're almost at a point where we're going to have some type of a deficit budget. It's going to be either this year or next year. It's either that or we just won't have a town running anymore.
Well, you have another option, right? And I guess we can discuss that. We don't need to do that tonight, but as we put the warrant together, we can put an article or two and say, we're going to go over LD1.
Yep.
Which is an increase in your taxes.
Which is almost, yeah, and I didn't want to do that, but I think we've actually gotten to the point of the ridiculous here.
So, anyway,
And this again is going to the Finance Committee. This is not the final decision on the warrant. I'd like to hear what the Finance Committee has
I
to
would
say
too.
about
I would
this as
too,
well.
big time.
And it's
So-
been discussed several times that maybe the road review committee should come in on an amount that, to see about a bond for the roads to get them done all at once.
That would be my suggestion.
We haven't done anything with these roads for years. so
I
mean,
agree.
Just remember that reflects on your past budgets.
Right.
It's been a little bit easier.
Oh,
in that
absolutely.
department.
So we have a motion to move the project out of Chadbourne Ridge Road and do minimum to Chadbourne Ridge Road, which now Fred is saying probably is 20 grand, all right? And put 30 grand back into the ditching account, and the rest would go, I guess, into paving, because he's going to have to put $15,000 worth of paving on there anyway.
I'm somehow
So-
not going to tell the road commissioner.
Well, okay,
How to
so,
run his
but there's
roads.
a motion
It's a
made by
motion.
John,
I'm just
seconded
telling you,
by...
I have a right to
So
speak.
I'd like to call,
It's called a filibuster.
I will filibuster.
Leave this Chadbourne Ridge Road, this way there, 60,000 fixed.
I'm going to call for a
You got
vote.
67,000 in there for ditching. Take the 20,000 that I've got in my budget for ditching, put it with that, and we'll roll on that and see what happens.
I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of John's motion, which is to split this thing up. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, stays the way it is. Motion's defeated.
So which one
Anything,
are we doing now?
we're leaving it the way that it was presented.
Okay.
So then we'll deal with the Finance Committee's recommendations and go from there. Anything else?
So now do you have to vote to send it to Finance Committee?
No, we did that the other night. We said, we did that the other night. We
Well,
said
we
we'd
left
bring the
out the
road.
road.
Right, we'd bring the roads back, the addition back. So what they have is the whole road budget excluding this, well, the way that it was presented, the way that we had it in the last budget. So that's what they have.
Do we have a right to go to the finance committee meeting?
Absolutely.
You sure
It's
do.
a public meeting.
Go there, support your roads.
All right. We're going to move on. Other, vote to sign warrants and bills of payroll.
So moved.
All those, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Vote to sign minutes of 4:28:09.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? That's a 4-0, because Evan wasn't here. Discussion of agenda items. Committee appointments.
Should we put something on there after the discussion on Thursday with the employees? If we have a discussion item for salaries, it seems to be a
I
big...
guess we could revisit that, and I will know that Friday, right? I mean, before we...
Yeah, we
put it on.
should.
That we might change the way that the budget's structured with what's presented to the budget, the Finance Committee. So we'll know that anyway, and we'll put that on the agenda if we have to.
Yeah,
Anything?
just any final budget restructuring.
Right. Anything else?
Can I ask a question?
Sure can.
It says the senior luncheons, not that I'm a senior yet, are the first and third Thursday, but when I look at my little calendar, it's got it on the, looks like the second and fourth.
It's the second
Which
and
is it?
fourth.
Second and fourth, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? If not, just a reminder, items needing signatures, warrants and bills of payroll, minutes of 4:28, appointment papers, dispatch, PSAP, contract. Reminders. First reminder is continue to recycle. Right?
We put that twice tonight.
Every ton of recycling saves the town of Waterboro $88.
88 cups, the minimum.
And you feel good about it.
Well, it's easier to now. Everything can be combined into, all your recycled materials can be combined into one container, and you can dump it right in the old cardboard hopper, so that does make it quite a bit easier. I've been able to do quite a bit more myself, and from what I've seen, there's been a lot of people embracing the idea and very happy with it. It's much easier to do.
Okay?
When I bought my thing of paper, newspaper, I had to take so much of it and put it into that. I couldn't reach that up.
Yeah, that's one of the discussions we had last night about lowering the front of that thing.
Dennis and I will be out there
We're
Wednesday to look at
we're
that.
going to take an axe on it. 6 p.m. Finance Committee tomorrow night.
Have it too low.
Town Hall, Planning Board tomorrow night, 7:30 here in the Town Hall Annex. Old Home Days Committee, Town Hall, 7 p.m. Thursday night, 7 p.m. Historical Society at the Town Hall Thursday night. Saturday morning, 8:30 the cribbage tournament. Monday, book club at the Town Hall, 6:30. Is it the Town Hall or library? The book club, Town Hall. Parks and Rec Committee meeting, 7 p.m. Monday night, Town Hall. Selectmen's meeting here, 6 p.m. Next week. 6:30 Wednesday night, Planning Board public hearing at the Town Hall Annex. That's been canceled. Okay. Rotary Committee, 7 p.m. Wednesday, the 13th, at the Town Hall. Thursday, May 14th, the noon senior luncheon, Snowmobile Club. That is Thursday.
Yes, it is.
Thursday at 4:30 p.m., Economic Development Committee at the Town Hall Annex. And Thursday evening, 7 p.m., Taylor House Board of Trustees at the Taylor House. And entertain a motion to adjourn.
No, don't adjourn.
Oh,
Second.
No,
No.
don't adjourn, just continue a meeting for Thursday night and do a workshop.
okay. So we will not adjourn, we will move,
To recess.
we will recess. Right?
Okay.
Sorry, a motion to recess.
Is it a workshop on Thursday?
Yep.
Why are we...
Or it would be part of the ongoing
Is
agenda.
this
right?
meeting over? I want to show Cindy something.
So do you want to move just to recess until Thursday evening, and it will be a workshop Thursday evening?
But why do we,
Do we
are
need
we
to do
doing?
that, or do we do that for, what's the reason, rationale, Nancy?
Public notice?
Just public notice? Okay. So, do I have a motion to recess until Thursday evening, 5:30?
That's smooth.
Anyone second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you.